Let me just give you some more of the particulars here on Soto before I move on from it. $765 for 15. He gets a $75 million signing bonus.
Jesus.
And Heyman wrote here, a state tax advantage because he's a Florida resident. I guess that means he doesn't get taxed on the $75 million because he lives in Florida. I guess that's how all that works. He gets about $120 million overall pay in 2025. No deferred money in this deal. He can opt out after 5 years. He'd only be 30 years old. He gets a Citi Field suite for his family. That's an estimated value of $500,000 per year. Needed that suite. Gets a suite as well in the deal. So there you go. Lots of the particulars when it comes to Soto. Yankees did bid $760 for 16. Now there's another story that's been floated in the last hour or so that Hal did have a chance to go match. Blah, 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 blah. Who cares at this point? He's a man. I don't want to hear all the secondhand stuff, all these people that want to carry water for the Yankees and for Hal and try to make it look like they were so close. But whatever. They didn't get him. They didn't get the job done. And that's that. So it's over with.
And he can leave in 5 years?
He can opt out in 5 years, yes. Now, would you opt out of a deal where you get, I guess, if you're only 30 years old, I guess, can you get another $700 million at 30 years old? I'm not too sure. Although, I'm sure 5 years ago, we didn't think someone would, or maybe we did think someone would get $765 million. So what do you think someone could get 5 years from now when they're still 30? So I guess it's possible that he could. You know, we saw A-Rod do it.
Someone's going to get $1 billion. I think some player will get $1 billion. Bottom line is this. Yeah. If he's miserable in Queens and if, it doesn't go well and they're booing him and he hates it, he can leave in 5 years. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did. 15 years is crazy. I don't want to give anybody in any sport that many years. I think it's too much. I mean, the money's gargantuan. Good for him. He gets all that, a suite and everything else, and he can leave in 5. He got all the cards.
He got all the cards. That was probably the deal breaker for Hal. He didn't want to give him the suite because that's money. Like, he gets money from the suite. I'm making a joke, obviously. I'm sure Hal didn't want to give him a suite when it came down to it at the end of the day. The Mets were 12-1 for next year's World Series before signing Juan Soto. They moved all the way up to 7-1 after signing. They are the second choice on the board behind the Dodgers, who, of course, spend also like drunken sailors. So plus 340 for the Dodgers, plus 700 for the Mets. And look, remember, it was a good run for the Mets to the NLCS last year. But they were, what did they finish in their division this year, Scotty? They didn't win the division. They were a wild card team. But
they were good. They were a good team.
Yeah.
Now who can they sign is the question. When they give this guy all this money, how can they sign other people? You start wondering about who they're going to be able to sign. It sounds like Alonso will be gone.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, I think this guy's I think he's good for a lot more. I don't think they're done in any aspect. I think he'll bring Alonso back. I think he'll sign either Fried or Burns. I think you'll get the Tanner Scott, go get him too. It's just, you got to remember now, you see, the Met fans they're going to love this. They are now what they hated forever. The Mets are now what they hated. They despised the Yankees being able to do this for a very long time. This is now them. Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here. I'll get a closer here. I'll get a first baseman here. And he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit. The guy's worth $7 or $8 billion or whatever. It's probably more than that. I'm probably selling him a little short. And there's no limit to what he can do. This is a drop in the bucket, $765 million for Juan Soto.
I think it's the first time they've ever really shown up the Yankees. This guy's finally done it. He's made them, more important than the Yankees. They got the best player. You saw what he did for the Yankees. He took them to the World Series. He carried them on his back. Let's face it. In the playoffs, he was their best player. It wasn't Judge. It was Soto. And he was just clutch as hell. and now he's playing for the Mets, and the Mets are now the deal in town, and his buddy Judge is left out there in the outfield without him now. So I think they have to go sign pitchers. I think they have to go spend money now on other players. Like I said before, they lost Adames, so go get arms. Arms are what win playoff games. Arms are what get you to the World Series. You get a couple of bats like they had last year with Judge and Soto, it gets you into the playoffs, gets you to the World Series. But Soto's the reason they got there, and then they blew it, obviously. Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
They got their ass beat, and they have got a lot of work to do now. Now that they are not going to have Soto back in the Bronx. But it sounds like they have a lot of money that they can now spend. The question is, will they spend it wisely or will they spend it foolishly? We shall see what the Yankees do with all that money they now have to go through. So there'll be a lot of deals the next few days. There's been a couple as well here. The San Francisco Giants have been trying to hand money to people for years now, right? I mean, they tried giving money to everybody. Willie Adames, they finally found somebody to say yes. Willie Adames, 7 years, $182 million for him as he goes out to San Francisco. Nice deal for Adames, who's really the only big guy who said, I'm not waiting around for Soto. Someone's offered me $180 million. I'll see you later. I'm out of here.
Do you think he's worth $182?
No.
I don't either.
No.
They just gave that guy so much money.
And remember this, too. I think he's a good player, but one thing about playing in that park, that is not a big offensive hitter's park out in San Francisco at Oracle. It's not. Those numbers are not going to look the same for him going out there. There's only one guy who put up enormous numbers at that place, and that's Barry Bonds. He's the only guy, because that's just nobody else really goes there and hits 40 homers, 35, 40 homers. It's that's just not what you do out at that place. So I don't think
they got better with Chapman and with Adames. Yeah. Now they got a couple bats and a couple guys that can really on that left side of that infield that can win Gold Gloves. It's going to be hard to get the ball through there if you're playing the Giants. They got a nice defense now on that side of the field. And, bottom line is they're in the same boat as the Yankees. They need more arms. Now you got a couple of bats. You got a couple of really good fielders. Now you got to go get the pitching to go with it.